Welcome to the GSMC Fitness Podcast, the show that helps you sort through all of the trends, new and old, of the fitness world. We'll talk about yoga, running, Zumba, weightlifting, and everything in between. Whether you've got your fitness routine down to a science or you're just starting out and looking for direction, you'll find educational and entertaining information on the GSMC Fitness Podcast. Welcome to the GSMC Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Alexandra. Today we're going to be talking about protein supplements, CrossFit, and how to get ready for the summer. Yes, I know it's winter. We got to start talking about that now. So, protein supplements. Everyone takes them. Everyone recommends them. Anyone who goes to the gym regularly, I'd say most, if not all, I can't say all, but at least most of the fitness gurus that I've seen out there use protein supplements. They like them, they suggest them. I'm not a fan. Let's talk logistics. So what are they exactly? What are they for? So protein supplements are to help increase lean body mass. So they're to help you build muscle, basically. And there are different kinds, all kinds. Whey is the most commonly used one because it's water soluble. It's the most water soluble one. So it's easier to mix into things, easier for shakes, and however you want to consume your protein powder. Now, I'm not the biggest fan because, there are other ways to get your lean proteins. And that's, a typical diet, what a lot of people eat: meat, fish, chicken, dairy products. You can get your protein from all of these things. And those are the main ones, but there are vegetables that provide protein as well. Beans is one of the most common ones. It's the one that comes to people's minds. Nuts. So there are protein options, healthy protein options. Avocado. Lots of options for that. Now, protein, wherever you get it from, is super useful, super, super helpful. So I totally understand why people want to take protein supplements. Especially if you're starting a new program, if you're changing up your routine, anything that makes what you're doing more intense, you're going to need more protein. Why? Well, one, to help you build the muscles, but two, to help you repair your muscles, because that's the process of working out. You rip your muscles and they heal. But not only that, if you have an injury, if you have a workout injury, that protein will help you recover. That's why there are plenty of people that suggest that you have protein right after your workout. That's a pretty common suggestion. And if you don't want to pay attention to how much protein you're eating in your regular diet, or you feel like you need extra for whatever reason, you're working out really intensely every single day for an extensive amount of time, sure, protein supplements, protein powder might help. However, there's, especially for the average person, as in not an athlete, but I'd say even with athletes, protein powder is not necessary if you have access to a normal, healthy diet. And that's the case for a lot of people. If you have regular, normal, daily access to normal, healthy foods, a normal, healthy, balanced diet, you don't need protein powder. You really, really don't. And you can always adjust it if your routine is more intense, if you're doing a little bit extra, you can always add a little bit of daily protein into your diet. You can switch out the ratios of what you're eating. I personally, from research and from personal experience and discussions with different kinds of people, different professionals, I just personally don't see an extra benefit to protein supplements. I'm just not a big fan. And obviously, I just mentioned you can get your protein from your regular diet, but regardless of that, okay? All supplements are not FDA approved. It's kind of up to the manufacturers, up to the company to do whatever they want. And obviously there are more reputable companies, more trustworthy companies, and that takes some research, but you can find out which ones are more trustworthy. But it's just weird that they're not FDA approved and they can put whatever they want on the labels, and that kind of weirds me out a little bit, to be honest. I mean, I'm personally not interested in that kind of supplement anyway, because my body, personally, I am able to get all that I need from my diet. But then there's that extra layer of, ooh, is that safe for my body? A lot of supplements can carry extra sugars and calories too, which can hurt your fitness process. And not only that, there was a Harvard study that was done in September of 2018 where they found toxins inside some of these supplements. And that's because they're not FDA approved. They're not required to be regulated in a very specific way. So you have to be careful what you're putting into your body, how much you're putting into your body. Do you actually need that extra help of the supplement? Talk to your doctor, talk to a trainer, do your research, do your calculations, depending on your physiology, your genetics, if you're a man or a woman, depending on other health factors in your life, how much you're working out. Calculate all these things if it's really that important to you to know for sure if you need it or not. Talk to your doctor, calculate all these things. I really don't think it's necessary. I personally have never taken a protein supplement, and I don't plan to. I've never felt like I needed more protein. I have been able to build the muscle in the past without all of that, and I am currently back on track. I'm actually almost right at my goal. And without the help of anything extra, any powders or anything like that, just my regular diet. I have been conscious of protein, obviously, because if I'm working out extensively, it's good to be a little bit conscious of that, but I don't know. I've never had problems, never needed anything extra. So, depends on your situation. In general, for most people, I say it's not necessary at all. With that, with a topic that I think many people will disagree with me on, that's fine. I will end that segment there. When we come back, we'll go into the positives of proteins. If you decide you want a protein shake, let's talk about whey proteins, and let's talk about different ways to ingest and eat our protein powders. We'll be right back.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Welcome back. In the last segment, we talked about how I'm not the biggest fan of protein powders, protein supplements. But that's okay. If you are, this is the segment for you. We're going to talk about different options to using those protein supplements because, a lot of people aren't a fan of them, of the taste, regardless of the flavor options that are available. So let's talk whey protein. So whey proteins are milk-based and they are digested easily. So it is definitely the most popular option. Now, if you're vegan, don't worry. There are vegan protein powder options. They're not ranked as the best options to use. I'm gonna be honest, from what I've seen, whey seems to be the best option, the best way to go. However, the vegan option is there if you need it, if you choose to use that option. Now, I originally didn't understand how people took protein powders. For the longest time, I didn't get it. I was like, this gross, disgusting flavored powder and you just mix it with water and drink it. That's real gross. It's like powdered milk, but worse. So I was definitely not into that, and I'm sure most people aren't. But if you're new to the protein powder world, there are ways to eat them that a lot of people find delicious. And I wish there was, I know there are recipes without protein powders. I just haven't looked at them yet. But one of my favorite recipes that I found, well, I guess it's more of a series of recipes. Anyway, it's overnight oats. If you don't know what overnight oats are, it's like oatmeal, kind of, but much better. So you get your oats, you put them in whatever container you want, then you mix in whatever you want. Bananas, peanut butter, some chocolate chips, and you mix in your milk, if you want almond milk, regular milk, whatever it is. If you want to put in some honey, put in some honey. And then you put in your flavored protein powder to help soak up the extra liquidiness that's in this. You just stir that up when it's all blended together. Close the lid, put it in the fridge, and in the morning, you got your breakfast. I've seen people meal plan stuff similar to this because, it's just oats. You can prep it ahead of time. You put whatever you want in there. You just leave it in the fridge and you just open it when you're ready. And when you're ready, you can also add some fruits to it. You can freeze different berries or banana slices, whatever you want. Or you don't have to freeze them if you don't want to. Just sprinkle those on top whenever you eat them in the morning. And you can make large batches of this. It's just oats. Depending on what other ingredients you put in there, it'll last you the week. I think it's a really cool breakfast prep to have prepared. It's really easy, quick, and honestly sounds like it tastes amazing. Just get a protein powder with a flavor that you like. I know a lot of people like chocolate, but there's vanilla, there's all kinds of stuff. I'm going to look for a recipe like this without protein powder, but Anyway, another option is the standard shake. You can make any kind of shake you want. Fruits. I say stick to fruits because the protein powders are sweet. You want something to match. And you can put in a little bit of green in there, enough to get something else healthy. But you can't really taste it. You know what I mean? So put mostly fruits, some yogurt, some milk, water, whatever you want. A little bit of honey. I always like to add a little bit of honey. But if you're trying to cut out fats and sugars, just use the fruit, but not the honey. Because especially bananas, ripe bananas, that will be sweet enough. Peanut butter, whatever you want, blend it, and you're good to go. I mean, it's simple. There are also cookies and brownies you can make, because what you can do is, there are specific recipes, so look up the specific recipes. However, in general, the idea is that the protein powder replaces like most of the flour. For example, chocolate chip cookies, regular sugar, salt, eggs, vanilla, baking powder or baking soda, chocolate chips, the protein powder, and only I think I read 2 tablespoons of flour or something like that. So, I mean, that's a real simple way to do it. Just a dessert that you love, and then you just made it a little bit healthier. Obviously, it still has a ton of sugar, but if you're gonna have a cheat day, might as well have a benefit during the cheat day. Why not? If it still tastes delicious and you're still getting your cheat in. I imagine your cheat day might be your rest day, so let that be your muscle repair time with the protein powder. I don't know. That could be a way to think about it. So these options are obviously specifically for breakfast and dessert. I think those are the most common ways. I don't think I've seen other ways to include protein powders in a meal. Has anyone even done that? Now I'm curious. Has anyone had a regular savory meal and baked protein bread or something? Oh God, that sounds disgusting. But I wonder, someone has to have tried that. I'm sure there's recipes that exist about that. There has to be, right? So then comes the question, when are you supposed to eat protein powder? Well, there is so much arguing about it. I'm not even going to give you a suggestion because there is so much arguing. I mentioned earlier that, tons of people recommend to have it after you work out because the justification there is, it's good for the recovery, good for your muscles. Okay, well then there are people that say, well then it's good to have it before your workout to support the workout. And then there are plenty that say it shouldn't be anywhere near your workout because it needs to be when your muscles are recovering. Well, I've seen no common consensus whatsoever. So talk to your doctor, talk to your coach, you figure it out. Maybe it depends on the person. It could be a body-to-body thing. So see how you respond to it and what your health professional you choose to speak to says about that. Because I have no other advice to give on that, really. There's so much conflicting information. So don't stress. I guess the way I would think about it, I mean, obviously I'd ask, but before asking, I would think about it and I'd wonder, well, when do you normally eat the most protein? Okay, well, add in the protein powder to that time period, I guess. I don't know, I feel like it fluctuates daily. I don't necessarily, no, I don't eat a ton of protein in the morning at all. Maybe the most I would eat is for lunch. What about you guys? Now I'm curious, okay, I have a question for you. When is the time of day that you consume the most protein? Regardless of supplements. If you don't take any supplements, just think about your regular meals. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. snack. I hope it's not during your snack. Okay, that's it for now, guys. We will be right back. And when we come back, we're gonna get into CrossFit.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back. Earlier we talked about different ways to eat protein supplements, and now we're going to get into CrossFit. You've probably heard that name around, but maybe you're not quite sure what it is and how it could possibly be helpful to you. Well, it's actually a specific kind of high intensity interval workout. It's just made by a specific company and organized in a specific way. They believe that it is more beneficial than a regular high intensity interval workout. So it focuses on strength and conditioning. You know, it's for everything pretty much. And the idea is it takes movements from your everyday life, like squatting, pulling, pushing, anything like that. It takes those and it puts them into the workout. It builds it into the routine. So, I mean, the idea is kind of cool. I've mentioned that before, that workouts can support your everyday life, but your everyday life can support your workouts. If you're doing cardio, that's going to support you when you walk, when you play with your kids, when you do anything like that. And strength, it'll support you picking up the kids, moving, doing dishes, chores, whatever it is. So this is kind of built to focus in that way, which is actually a really cool concept. I like that idea. There's also an emphasis on load, distance, and speed. That's what they say, at least. I don't quite understand the details behind that because I've never tried CrossFit before. But, I mean, with load, I imagine they mean the resistance and distance and speed. That can help with endurance, and then the cardio. That's my interpretation. One kind of downside to this, or maybe it's an upside to you if you have a gym membership, it can use lots of equipment. So you can definitely get a lot of use out of your gym membership. Or if you're at home, you might want to invest in a gym membership or get some equipment depending on what exercises you're doing. So they do have a daily website. So because it's kind of like high intensity training, I believe you can work out every day. That's the idea behind it. You do it every single day. And they have a daily workout that you can see for free on their website. And there is a way to see suggested workouts for your level. I believe you can see it on the FAQ page on their website. They'll suggest different ways to see a workout for your level. If you're a beginner, there's definitely ways to do that. However, because it seems to be, the implication from my understanding is that it's more intense than high intensity, people are kind of prone to injuries. So if you want to do CrossFit, I'd absolutely suggest getting a coach, because a coach will absolutely help you. They'll keep you accountable on your form, because once you get tired, you kind of lose your footing and your form isn't so perfect anymore. And that's a big factor in injuries. So you want to be careful with it. Another cool thing is if you go to their website, they definitely explain everything about what exactly CrossFit is and entails. And on the daily workout, it'll explain everything, but it'll also tell you, like, this is a rest day. Don't, just chill. But if you look at the top, you can click on health or battles, for example, and it will give you news relevant to fitness and to CrossFit in particular, things that will help support your CrossFit journey. So, for example, if you go to, let's say, health, okay, it has a little bit of an introduction at the top, and then it has a bunch of articles underneath. You can see different things like evidence-based medicine, and this looks like part 3 of a whole series. So, they do their research. They seem to have a lot of interesting information. So I can see the appeal to wanting to be involved with CrossFit. Whatever gyms they associate with. It looks like they have their information. My only con, again, is the injuries. Anything that's super intensive, it will make you more prone to injuries. You've got to be careful. I feel like unless you're an athlete or unless you've been working out for a while, supposedly, obviously, there's a beginner version of CrossFit, but really make sure it's beginner enough for you. If it's not, tone it down even more. Tone it down to suit you. And I'm never going to stop saying that, because I believe in starting slow. Wholeheartedly, I believe in starting slow and taking it easy and not hurting yourself. So don't hurt yourself. Try CrossFit. It seems pretty cool, honestly. I don't think it's a bad thing. Just be careful, be safe. All right, let's take another break. When we come back, we'll talk about CrossFit alternatives.
The GSMC Life and Happiness podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back. Earlier we talked about CrossFit. Now let's talk about alternatives to CrossFit, because I did end on a somewhat negative note. Just, things more intense like that can make you more prone to injury, so you got to be careful, right? Well, if you're interested in CrossFit, but maybe you want to work up to it, or maybe you tried it and it just wasn't your thing, but you like the idea of it, like I said before, the idea of it, of doing it in relation to your everyday life, that sounds pretty cool to me. The exercises are based on everyday life things. I like that. So, what can you do? Well, there are other companies that have their own workout ideas, obviously. So I'm going to give you a few of them. One is called Walk On. And it's a 30-minute routine, which is great, I think, because if it's a little bit longer, that means it's not so intense. So that can be a really great thing for beginners. But it's not so long that it takes up too much time. Like, you can absolutely take up 30 minutes a day or 30 minutes 3-4 times a week. I think that's an amazing thing to do. And it consists of gentle walking, strength, and core. All of this gentle. Now, when I say gentle, I don't mean you're not going to get your heart rate up. You will get your heart rate up. But this is maybe catered towards people that want something not so intense, not so crazy, or they're new to working out, and maybe they don't necessarily have a huge goal in mind, but they want to make some healthy choices, some healthy progress. This is a great way to go. And what people also say about it actually is that it's fun. So it's a DVD set, I believe, that you can order. And you just follow along. And, I mean, people just say it's so much fun. And that's a big plus to me, because working out's kind of boring. I think a lot of people don't actually enjoy the process of working out. Like, I've heard people say they enjoy the challenge. I've heard people say they enjoy how they feel after, the high, the results, whatever it is. But a lot of people don't actually like working out. So this is a good way to enjoy it. Try Walk On, see if you like it. I mean, people say it's fun. It's probably fun. All right, another one, the daily high-intensity interval training. I've talked about this before, but this is a specific company called Daily High-Intensity Interval Training. It's made to be a 12-minute workout. There are all kinds of high intensity. There's 6 minutes to longer. This one is just 12 minutes, which I think is great. Again, I prefer a little bit longer. And 12 minutes, you can do that every single day. You can do that in the morning. You can wake up just a little bit earlier, do it in the morning, or do it really quickly before your shower, before bed, whatever it is you need to do. Time it. You got 12 minutes. You can put 12 minutes into your day every single day. I promise you can. It's basically anaerobics. So typical high intensity training, it will help the entire body. And it uses little to zero equipment, which is, again, standard for high intensity. You only have to use your body, a wall, the floor, maybe some workouts you can use a chair or a stool, but you can obviously adjust to suit your personal needs, what you have at home, anything like that. I think this one's a great option, again, because it's 12 minutes. I prefer a little bit longer. Then there's one I saw called Okay, I'm going to have to spell it for you because I don't know how they say it, to be quite honest. So, okay, I'll attempt to say it. I think it's called Resi. But basically it's a 35-minute workout, something like that, 35 minutes. And it's an interval challenge, is how they've described it. So it has a limited rest, but it's not super, super intense. So it's kind of like they took high intensity exactly and stretched it out. That actually might be a good introduction to high intensity. If high intensity is something you want to do, but you don't feel ready for it, you feel like it's too intense, too much, this might be a good transition type of workout. Because you start with like a basic workout would be, your first section is jump squats and deadlifts. And you do those 3 times each. Then you have, or 3 sets, not 3 times, anyway. So your next section would be flat bench and a row. And it continues on like that. Then you end with curls, whatever it is, however you want to organize it. But it targets different parts of the body. It targets the whole body in the end. So you get the strength because it's resistance-based exercises, but it's consistent. So you get that cardio, you get that endurance. I would ask a few more questions about this one because I've been to the website. I looked at it. It seems interesting. I think it's a really good option. I would give it a chance, honestly. I'm not going to stop saying it. I like it more extended workout stuff that are a little bit longer. And it still has the same benefits as high intensity. It's not like with the walk-on that I suggested. That one's more gentle. Maybe that one's not for everyone. If you need something a little tougher, I'd go with Resit. It's definitely more. It's definitely a lot more. And it helps your endurance definitely because it's so long, and you can schedule it maybe a little bit better. If you cannot work out every day for whatever reason, at least get 3 days, if not 4 days a week of half an hour. That should be standard. That should be your goal. That should be what you're trying to do. So if CrossFit sounds too crazy for you, these are some 3 options to go with. Even if CrossFit isn't too crazy for you, but it's just not your thing, these are options that are similar. They have a similar concept of working the entire body. Try them, see what you like. You never know. All right, let's take another break. And when we come back, we'll talk about getting ready for summer.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Welcome back. Earlier we talked about alternatives to CrossFit if that's just not the right fit for you, which is totally fine. There's lots of things to try. Now, let's talk about getting ready for summer. I know you think I'm crazy, especially if you're from the north, because there's snow and it's freezing still, and I understand. But it's about time that you start getting ready if you haven't yet. And if you haven't yet, no worries. Never too late to start. Never, ever, ever, ever too late. Don't ever think it's too late to start working out, because it's not. And right now is the perfect time. If you haven't got on that New Year's resolution train, and if you see people kind of backing off of their New Year's resolution train, they're kind of like losing it. It's fine. It happens to everyone. Let's jump on. Let's start new. Let's start fresh. Anyone who's slacking, forget everything. Don't stress. Come join us. Let's get ready for summer. Now, January's over. Love and chocolates are in the air. Your friends have made great progress in their fitness journeys. Maybe you haven't done a thing, like I said. All of that's okay. Don't worry. You have 4 months, actually more than 4 months, until it's officially summer. And if you're in the South, it's going to be warmer before that, but it still won't be summer yet. So you don't need to worry. That'll actually make working out easier. I know a lot of people don't like to work out when it's freezing cold. I get it. You have over 4 months. I think summer this year is like June 20th, something like that. So you have a lot of time. You can get so much done. Do you know what kind of progress you can make in just 4 months? More than you think, actually. So it takes roughly 6 to 8 weeks, so a month and a half, let's say, a month and a half to 2 months, to increase your endurance, like noticeably. Okay, your obviously your endurance is going to increase in increments. But if you're looking at overall progress, that will be a significant enough change for you to notice, to where you will be able to say, I'm increasing the intensity of my workouts and I'm feeling that there's a difference and I'm making progress here and I can last longer, I can do more. You should definitely be feeling that difference around that time. You'll notice from when you first started to then. Then double that time. Right? So either a full 4 months or a little bit less, let's say like 12 to 16 weeks, something like that. There will be significant improvement. I know that's vague, but everybody's different and every routine is different. But if your goal is to lose weight, you will notice that. If your goal is muscle definition, you will notice that. Whatever goal you are working towards, there will be noticeable improvements there. Because 4 months is such a short time, I don't think you should take progress pictures every single day. That can be very stressful. Let's say every 2 weeks or every month even. Every month. Do it just once a month. Do it at the beginning. Then the beginning of the second month, beginning third, beginning fourth. Then at the end of that 4th month, when that 5th month is starting, because you still have time before summer, and see how much progress you made. Don't think about reaching necessarily a super specific goal, because sometimes people get over ambitious and then you're discouraged if you don't reach that goal. So just worry about doing that routine consistently before the summer. Now, it said that high intensity interval training has the fastest results. So that could be an option for you. However, I'm not saying don't do high intensity. High intensity is healthy. It's fine. It's not a bad thing. But don't do anything extreme. Don't lose tons and tons of weight too quickly. That is very bad for the body. You can actually lose progress. You can get rebound weight gain if you do this. So not only is it not healthy, but it reverses your progress a little bit. So you're working hard, but do it the right way so you don't hurt yourself. Now, I know I'm saying there's a little over 4 months until summer, so you got that going for you. But once summer hits, man, keep the streak going. Make more progress. By mid-summer or the end of summer, I guess it depends where you live, you will have a 6-month streak habit. 6 months. 6-month streak. And I say habit because supposedly it is said that a 6-month streak of regular workouts creates a habit. That doesn't mean you need to stop trying to work out, but it will be easier to do it regularly. It will be less of a chore. Obviously, again, this is an incremental change, but by then you'll be so into it. You'll be so pumped. If you're not working out, you feel like you're antsy and have all this energy, and Definitely has happened to me, and that's a great feeling. To be honest, it's a really, really great feeling. So make a plan. Start slow and make this long-term plan for the summer. Start simple, whatever you think your level is. Make your plan. Then, 2 weeks, alter your plan a little bit. Make it a little bit tougher. Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot. 2 more weeks. Every 2 weeks, change your routine. It doesn't have to be every 2 weeks. You can do it every 4 weeks if you want. You're still going to make progress. But what I'm saying is adjust. Don't let yourself get bored and keep the streak for the summer. Don't just think beach body, beach body, beach body. Think, okay, what's next? That will help keep you engaged, keep you encouraged, and help keep your muscles engaged and encouraged and doing something different. If something is working well for you, don't worry about switching up your routine. Keep doing what you're doing. Then when that becomes a little too easy, switch up your routine, do something different. I'm only saying switch it up to keep you engaged and help make sure you're working all your muscles and challenging yourself. You don't need to change that often. I don't change my routine that often. But if you're trying to make progress within that short amount of time, and that's your focus, it could be helpful to change things up a little bit more often. Maybe that might work for you. So decide your plan and get started and get that beach body that you want. Be ready for the summer. You will make, even if you don't reach your end goal, you will make significant progress, noticeable progress. And I mean, that's enough to make some confidence, guys. It's enough to cause some confidence, to feel good and to continue on that journey. Let's stop here. And when we come back, let's talk about working out in the winter, because starting this routine now is still cold. We'll be right back.
Pets bring such joy to our lives, and the GSMC Pets podcast is here to share in that joy. We'll tell stories of pets finding their forever homes, acting in unexpected ways, being helpful, or just being silly. Whether you love dogs, cats, llamas, reptiles, fish, or you've never met an animal you didn't like, the GSMC Pets podcast is for you.
Welcome back. Earlier we talked about getting ready for the summer. Now let's address working out in the winter, because if you haven't been working out and you're planning on starting now, because like I said, you have over 4 months, you can make progress. You can make visible progress. Working out in the winter can be frustrating. It can be a lot. If you want to work out outside, let's say you're in an area where you can, you still want to be careful. But even if you're working out indoors, you want to layer up. So this goes for indoor, outdoor, wherever you are. You want to wear layers because it's going to be cold. You've got to cover up and help your muscles stay warm, so you can do your workout properly and not hurt yourself and be motivated to keep moving. And as you heat up, you can take off layer by layer when it is necessary, and you can always be the perfect temperature that you need to be comfortable. Another thing that's important, even just for travel's sake, not obviously if you're working out outside, but even for travel's sake, dress dry. Wear the right shoes and jacket, whatever you need to protect yourself to not be soaked. Because if you're soaked, not only Is that going to be really uncomfortable and you could possibly get sick? Yes, I know cold doesn't actually make you sick, but it lowers the immune system. Anyway, you don't want to make yourself wet in the cold. You want to be comfortable, and you want your muscles to be warm and relaxed. And that warm-up process will just take longer if you're cold and wet and uncomfortable. So, wear the right kinds of clothes. And something important, actually, if you're going to be working out outside, please wear bright colors. Don't wear white, especially if you live in a snowy area. Don't wear black, especially if you're not going to be on a sidewalk. You're going to be on the actual asphalt. Wear bright colors. Let cars, let people, bikers, whoever, let everyone see you so you can stay safe. Another important one, I know this doesn't have to do with fitness per se, but it's important. I mean, dry weather, cold skin, dry skin, it's going to happen, and it's not fun for anyone. Actually, when I lived abroad, I lived in a place that was the most humid I have ever been in my entire life. Oh my gosh, it was so humid, and I lived there for 2 years. So when I came back home, my body was having, it needed some time to adjust. My skin was doing okay, thankfully. That wasn't a huge transition. But my throat wasn't loving it. I had a sore throat for a little while. And at first, I thought I was coming down with a cold. But I was like, where's the fever? Where's the fever? Where's the fever? Nothing. And then I was like, well, where's the runny nose? And there was a point that I had a runny nose, but honestly, it could have just been allergies because it was like allergy season. So, and I get allergies, so I was very, very confused. And then I made the connection because I always woke up with the sore throat. I always felt better by the end of the day. And I immediately felt better in the morning after I had something to drink. Whether water, whether tea, especially tea, but anything really made my throat feel better, any liquid. That is a very clear indicator that there was a moisture problem, that my throat was very dry. And it made sense. I lived in a place that was super humid for so long. Anyway, my point is just pay attention to the weather and how your body's reacting to the weather. That can definitely affect your fitness. I literally thought I was coming down with a cold, so I toned down workouts and tried to get my rest that I apparently didn't need. I just needed a ton of water and time to let my body readjust to the different weather. Another thing about even stepping foot outside, even if you're not going to work out, make sure, I'm sure northerners pay attention to this, but maybe southerners don't as much. Make sure you have traction. Make sure your shoes have traction. That's definitely helpful with anything. With any workout you want shoes with a little bit of traction. That's absolutely helpful. If you wear cheerleading shoes, if you're a cheerleader, don't wear those shoes to work out. You're not going to get enough grip. If you guys don't know, cheerleaders have very comfortable, actually, super light shoes, but the bottoms are very smooth. So the flyers, the people that get lifted, they don't hurt anyone's hands with their uncomfortably rough shoes. So, you're not supposed to walk with them in rough places to mess them up. They stay smooth to make tricks more comfortable and easier. And yeah, that makes it not really great for working out. And not great for hiking, mountain climbing, things like that. So don't wear your cheerleading shoes, even though they're super, super comfortable. Another thing to keep in mind is make sure you have a longer warm-up. I don't know about you, but when the weather is cold, it takes me longer to work out. Like, even if I start my workout, it takes me a little bit longer to get that extra energy. You know what I mean? I just don't feel as warm, basically. So you need to make sure your warm-up is long enough, and that will help you make progress and do your full routine and be comfortable throughout it. And of course, when you're done, especially, immediately change out of your damp gear. You don't want any problems with that. You don't want to hurt yourself from the cold or from acne even, but because we're talking about winter, from the cold. Take care of yourself, stay warm, and thank you all so much for tuning in to the GSMC Fitness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'd like to ask that you please remember to subscribe to the show and write us a nice review. It really helps us out. Also, if you can please follow us on Facebook and Twitter, that would be wonderful. Thank you all so much. Have a good night.
You've been listening to the GSMC Fitness Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Google Play, and any app where you listen to podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of the shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, from business news to weird news, we cover it all. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook and listen to these podcasts on YouTube. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's podcast.